You might find, as you reflect for a moment, how the world you see around you is shaped by the way you think about it. The world as you experience it, it isn't necessarily the way others experience it. Yet, you can enter their world in a way that allows for change to happen. So imagine for a moment you're able to enter the map of the world that someone else carries with them. You've probably noticed, or perhaps haven't yet realized, that when you get close to their map, you're able to create a bridge. This bridge can carry them to somewhere they haven't yet been. And even though they may not consciously recognize it, they're ready to step across it. It's not about forcing them to adopt a new way of thinking. No, it's about how you begin exactly where they are, where their world is now. Not about challenging it, but about making it possible for them to easily walk towards a new perspective. It's all about the ease, that smoothness, and that subtle invitation. What you create in that moment is the chance for them to move forward, not because they're pushed, but because the path to the new idea is laid right in front of them, inviting them to step into it. Different people experience things in different ways, don't they? What you might call a trance, someone else may experience in a completely different way, and that's perfectly fine. You might find as you continue that trance, it doesn't always look like the classic image that we might have in our minds. It's not about closed eyes or hands in the air. It's not about some ritual to induce trance. Trance can happen in the simplest moment of everyday life, like in a conversation, in a shared glance, or in a shift of thought that changes everything without anyone needing to know how or why. And if someone tells you about a problem they're facing, they may give you a description of how things haven't worked. They might mention how things went wrong, but if you listen carefully, you'll hear something even more interesting. They might have created a false cause and effect link in their mind. These are patterns they believe need to be there for a change to happen, but they don't actually need to be there at all. You'll notice, once those false patterns are untangled, the way forward becomes clear, and the problems, they just dissolve. Perhaps you've seen how some people, they're caught up in what has to happen before they can move forward. Maybe they think certain signs must appear first. The universe must align in a certain way before any real progress can take place. But when you step into their world and you enter it without needing any signs or rituals, change can still take place. Sometimes the simplest, most elegant solution is the best one. You see, it's not about complicated rituals or practices. It's about applying what you know in as many different situations as possible. The more you use these patterns, these ways of thinking and speaking, the more you'll discover what works, what clicks, and where it can have the biggest impact. It's about refinement, a process where you discover the critical components that make all the difference. You don't need to wait for a perfect moment, or for the right setup. There's no need to overcomplicate things. What if instead of using a rigid approach, you found, just by talking in a certain way, through a simple conversation, you could create the same powerful change as if you'd followed some formal hypnotic ritual. You're using the natural flow of conversation itself as a tool, the feedback between two people, the interplay of ideas and words. It creates the change in real time. You don't have to depend on any specific setup, any perfect condition. You only need to speak and listen, to understand and to guide, and the results, they'll appear. It's fascinating how simple it can be when you notice how much is already happening, how much is already being created in every interaction. Even when some people expect or want to see some elaborate process, the true magic, it often lies in the subtle, the natural, and the effortless. And as you continue to use these patterns, you may just find you're not even aware of how much transformation is already occurring. It's happening beneath the surface in the most unexpected places.